it's just so special for such our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.
Hey there, TJ here, and welcome to Yeahthedees, where I am reviewing our round 10 game against the Kangaroos at Marvel Stadium on Saturday the 21st of March in the 4:30pm time slot. The Roos are taking on the D's at Marvel for the first time since round 23, 2014. It's actually the first time us Melbourne fans have been able to see us versus the Roos in Melbourne since round 3, 2018, the last time we played them at the MCG, which is just utterly ridiculous for two Melbourne sides. With so many games being played down in Bellerive, and then of course in the 2020 COVID season we played North Melbourne in Adelaide of all places. So yeah, we are pretty much almost used to playing this side anywhere but Melbourne. It's a bit weird, but good to be able to go to a game and watch the Kangaroos play. Really interested in seeing Horn Francis up front, and he looks the goods. He looks the goods. Their midfield was definitely bolstered by him coming back, along with Jai Simpkin and Hugh Greenwood. So it was good for the Roos to bring back some contested players, especially against a contested side like us, when you have your Clayton Olivers and your Luke Dunstans and Christian Petrarca's running around. You need to have some good contested players to go up against them and try to win in the contest. We were forced to make two changes this week. James Harms did a hamstring. He's going to be out for at least 2 games, with Jakey Milkshake Malcolm coming in. Jack Viney was a late out with a hamstring tightness, and Luke Dunstan came in for him, which I thought he was probably going to get the nod over Jake Melksham, but Melksham got in, and I was like, oh man, it's a bit stuff for bit stuff. It's a bit stiff for Toby Bedford and Luke Dunstan, especially for Luke Dunstan after having 33 goals in the VFL the week before. But they both ended up getting a game, and Toby Bedford ended up coming in pretty quickly for Ed Langdon. It was the first week of being the NARM Footy Club, and I really enjoyed how this created conversations. I had quite a few friends text me and be like, why is Melbourne NARM? What's going on? And it gave me the opportunity to be like, oh, it's the Aboriginal name for Melbourne. Like, we're going to be renamed NARM over the Indigenous weeks, and people learnt the Aboriginal name for their hometown. So I think that was nice to create those conversations around that and have people learn something new. No VFL this week. We had the week off with a bye, and the Casey Demons will be versing the Frankston Footy Club this coming Sunday at 2 p.m. Frankston is sitting 12th on the ladder, while Casey are undefeated and on top with 8 wins. But anyway, let's get into the first quarter. The big talking point of this quarter was the Taron Thomas dangerous tackle on Ed Langdon. So Langdon gets hit hard, and he gets hit in a rugby tackle where his midsection is taken. He's lifted off the ground and then dumped. And I think it's a fair free kick. I don't think it's never been in the AFL game for you to pick players up and dump them on their head, regardless of how much of Ed Langdon's neck and head was actually dumped on. It's the action that they want to take out of the game. And I think that's fair enough. It looks like he's probably got broken ribs, and that sort of driving tackle does cause injuries like that. I don't think we can really tolerate having those sort of tackles. The player owes the other player a duty of care. And the duty of care is from not being lifted up off the ground and dumped. It was interesting that David Noble had some thoughts in the press conference. He said they would be seeking clarification on the free kick paid against him. He said, it's one of those ones it's difficult to balance, isn't it? I'm not sure of the interpretation. If it was front on, I get the dangerous essence of tackles, but from my side of things, I thought it was an okay tackle. I was pretty happy with it. And of course, you're pretty happy with it because it was a tough tackle, and it took out one of our most important players out of the game. It took a while for Melbourne to readjust to not having Ed Langdon play down the wing. I noticed that we went through the middle a bit more this game, which was interesting. But yeah, so Ed Langdon was able to get up and snap the goal anyway, and then I watched him for the next bit after that, and you could see he was really sore. He was not having a good time running around at all. North Melbourne kicked back-to-back goals, which they'll do 2 more times throughout this game. We ended up kicking 3 of the last 4 goals. Trent Rivers' goal was nice. I thought Tom McDonald provided a really good option in the first quarter. I also thought Bailey Fritsch created a bit of an option. He was coming up the ground a bit more, getting involved with a bit of the play up the ground, and then that just kind of didn't really happen in the second half. But in the first half, I thought Bailey Fritsch was really important. He got involved in a lot of these scoring chains, which got us on the board and got us leading that first quarter. So we kicked 4-4-28 to the Roos 3 straight 18. Their straight kicking kept them in it a lot of this game, which was quite good. But yeah, let's get into the second quarter. So early on in the second quarter, and Langdon gets subbed out, Toby Bedford comes in, and the Roos get off to a little bit of a plucky start by kicking 2 goals in a row to start off that quarter. But we come back after that and then kick the next 3. Tom McDonald, Bailey Fritsch both getting on the board. They're both looking at it as our firing forwards in this game at the moment. Keziah Pickett was really up and about. He's had a good couple of weeks now, Cozzy, and I think he's going to really start erupting towards the end of this year. We're going to get that Cyril-like performances, I think. Bailey Fritsch won 3 intercepts, with all 3 launching a goal for his team, so that's why I thought he was doing very well, because his connection into the forward line was converting. Cam Zurhaar got his 3rd goal. He was a bit of a shining light for the Roos, especially early. But then, yeah, Cozzy gets his second of the quarter, and we start to extend our lead a little bit. Got it out to 20 points by the end of the second. We controlled a lot of the ball. We kept the ball very much in sort of the front half of the ground. When you're playing in the front half of the ground, you're not urgent to put on scores, but because you're sort of just holding the ball in an area, it's a little bit of boring football. I've been kind of trying to work out, well, not trying, I know why we don't smash teams like this, and it's because the way we play football is we contain teams, and we play off what they give us. And if they give us a really loose game, then we're going to get easy turnovers out the back and run forward and kick goals, where we end up just sort of letting them chip around. They're unable to exploit us out the back because we're so defensively sound, and because we're so defensively sound and set up in that way, we're able to control sides without them feeling like we're controlling them. So they think that they're in the games a bit more, but they're actually not. Like, at no stage did I feel that we were in trouble. Even when they got in front by a point in the second quarter, I didn't feel at all that we were even getting out of first gear. It's just the team absorbs what the other team is going to give them and then just gets the win on the board. It just focuses on winning the right contests and trying and taking territory and setting up behind the ball. So I think that's kind of why a lot of our midfielders just dump kick it, because they know if they can get the ball 50 metres forward, it's going to take the other team a lot of time to get that 50 metres back. It just really seems like we play football in a way where we trust our defensive system and then can play the game completely dependent on the way that the other team's playing. And it's like a bit of a dance, but it's a dance that always ends up with us getting the 4 points. We kicked 4-5-29 to the Roos 3-1-19, so both teams just kicking 1 extra point than their previous quarter. On to the third quarter now. The Roos start this quarter again with 2 consecutive goals. At this stage, they'd only taken 2 marks inside 50 and kicked a goal from both of them. So, yeah, the Demons concede 6.8 marks per game in their defensive 50, which is the fewest conceded by a team. That just shows how nuts we are in the defensive thing, where on average, you'll get 7 marks a game. So you get less than 2 marks inside your attacking 50 per game against Melbourne, which is phenomenal. But yeah, they got off to a bit of a run, and then we were a little bit inaccurate for a little while, but that was still, us holding the ball forward and just trying to take some opportunities there. Yeah, until Toby Bedford could get a run on for this goal. I thought I really like his speed. I really like what he does, and he had this awesome rundown tackle in the fourth quarter as well. Yeah, he's so unlucky not to be in the side at the moment, because he feels like another Pickett. He feels like he's got that same sort of speed. And he loves goals. Absolutely loves goals. Really love Jakey Melksham's goal from the 50. Like, he just has that silk and that talent where he's absolutely able to just ping one from 50 metres, like off a couple of steps. And his foot skills are elite. I just wish that he would chasing pressure and tackle a bit more, because he just doesn't seem to tackle as much. But geez, Jakey Melksham has such elite class on his foot. Clayton Oliver was at 33 disposals at the end of that third quarter with 17 contested possessions and 10 clearances. What an absolute machine Clayton Oliver is. He's been doing this since he was 18. He's only 24 now, and we're going to have him for another 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I was saying they kicked 2 goals in a row, giving the impression that the game was always sort of close. But yeah, it never really felt like Melbourne really went that extra gear or anything. Every time the Roos, closed the gap, we just would kick more goals and get away from it. It got to 6 points, the difference in that quarter. But did it ever feel like 6 points? I don't know. We kicked the last couple of that quarter and pretty much bring the margin back to what it was at halftime. So we kicked 2-4-16 to the Roos 2-2-14. And now we're into the fourth quarter. Kicking 2 goals early and just sort of getting it to the point where the game was easily getting pushed away. Toby Bedford had a fantastic rundown tackle in this quarter, and that's the thing that I love about this side, is that late in games, even when we're 30, 40, 50 points up, we'll get amazing defensive efforts from a Bedford, a Hunt, a Langdon, a May, Brayshaw, whoever it is. Like, they're all willing to still go and still do the hard stuff, even when we can absorb a couple of goals, and it doesn't really matter if we win by 45 or 35, really. Maxi Gawn and Bailey Fritsch get a couple of goals late. I think Maxi Gawn one was from a free kick. There's a lot of free kicks this game, and they're all like to the letter. Like, I had to rewatch the game and have a look, and I was like, oh, they're very finicky free kicks. They're very like they're there to the letter, but it's like they're not really the ones that you sort of want to be paid. Heard Gary Lyon talk about how Melbourne got the best run ever, and we were just first to the ball all the time. All the time we were first to the ball. And when that happens, you tend to get those sort of free kicks. So it's not like there was much paid that wasn't there. Bailey Fritsch gets good reward. He's kicked 3 goals too for the game. We boot the last 6 goals of the game, 4 of them being in that quarter, to win our 10th in a row for this season, 17 in a row all up. We dominated the inside 50s count, 74-34. We probably should have kicked a bit more, but yeah, we had 30 scoring shots to 13. So double the scoring shots, win by 47 points. In that last quarter, we kicked 4-3-27 to 2 points, run out 47-point winners. And yeah, I think the problem is that we're getting lots of inside 50s, but they're not quality inside 50s. They're not being kicked exactly to the forward's advantage, and that's very frustrating because we have the talent to be able to do that. It's been a problem for a long time. We were talking about this last year. Like, the only year our entry into forward 50 was good was 2018. That was the last time we had decent inside 50 entries. I think that's because Hogan was such a great mark. And Tom McDonald was the second fiddle and playing that. Where in this case, we've got a Ben Brown instead of a Jesse Hogan now. So should be doing better with that. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the game so far. Percentage doesn't really matter if you don't lose. So let's go through the player stats. Clayton Oliver with his absolutely obscene 45 disposals, 22 kicks, 23 handballs, 621 metres gained. And then, Christian Petrarca got 30, and then everybody else is under 22 disposals, which is really interesting. So we don't usually have a weird spread like that. But yeah, it just looks like Clayton Oliver really stepped up and took it on his own to make up for no Jack Viney this week. Charlie Spargo had a fantastic game for his 13 disposals. Isn't he the best 12, 13 disposal and 1 or 2 goal player you've ever seen? Always clean. And I'm not sure what the stat is after this week, but I heard during the week that Charlie Spargo has the most goals from marks that he's kicked to. So he usually hits up a player and they convert the goal, and he's the second most out of the AFL to do that as of last week. So he's doing some absolute phenomenal stuff. Clayton Oliver had 13 inside 50s. Christian Petrarca had 11. Neil Bullen had a solid game as well. Tommy Sparrow's really, really becoming a very solid player. I just really want to see him getting a bit more time. Bailey Fritsch had 9 score involvements. He had 9 score involvements from 12 disposals. Pretty elite. That's That's some good stuff. Disposal efficiency, Harrison Petty went at 100%. Jake Lever, Luke Jackson, Charlie Spargo, all elite over 90%, which is very, very nice. Trent Rivers had a great game. This is probably his best game for the year so far, I thought. He was moving around the ground a lot freer. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh yeah, Rivers is the one. Oh, they put Luke Jackson's picture where Trent Rivers is. That's weird. Anyway, a lot of people are thinking Trent Rivers should come out for when Salem comes back. He's a jet. He's an absolute jet. Like, don't be rushing to get somebody that throws their body at the ball that often out of the side. So Kangaroos had a bit more of the ball, but that's what happens when you hold them in spaces. They're going to be overusing it a little bit, and that's what they were doing with kicks, especially while they were switching. I think we switched maybe twice for the entire game. That is an obscene amount of difference in inside 50s. Yeah, disposal efficiency was about the same. We could have been a lot better inside forward 50. Spoke about the free kicks earlier. Hit outs, Todd Goldstein still happens to beat Max Gorn for whatever reason. I don't know why. It just always happens. Smashed clearances, mostly around the ground. Centre clearances were almost even. Stoppage clearances was where we beat them. And yeah, one out in the contested possession, and turnovers were pretty even. So a good contested game by North Melbourne. They put in a really good effort. People are probably upset that we didn't smash them, but you know, in the weeks that they've had where they've gotten smashed, we didn't play that team that week. Every week the team's changing. Every week, you know, things happen in people's lives and the way they approach a game changes. So no football team gets the same team 2 weeks in a row. I'd be happy with 47 points. It seems to go all right. Let's get into the coaches' votes. And the coaches' votes for this game, Clayton Oliver got the perfect 10. Christian Petrarca and Tom Sparrow both got 6 votes each. Tom McDonald got 4. Luke Davies-Uniacke got the 2. Aidan Corr with 1. And Charlie Spargo with 1. Now, if we go into my votes, I gave 1 vote to James Jordan. I felt like he's really been excelling in his role, playing on the wing, a little bit on halfback, a little bit in the midfield, and just really growing his game and being a really, really nice connector. Gave 2 to Christian Petrarca. I thought he was pretty strong in the midfield. Anytime he gets the ball, something happens, really. I think we're getting used to just how good he is and sort of taking it for granted a little bit. But yeah, another 30 disposals, another 600 metres gained. Christian Petrarca with the 2 votes. Gave 3 votes to Bailey Fritsch, even though he had 12 disposals. He kicked 3 goals too, and had another 4 or 5 score involvements. I really liked the look of him coming up the ground earlier in the game. I hope that's something that happens a bit more often, because there's just a lot of times where you don't see him for 2 to 3 quarters. Gave 4 votes to Tom McDonald, who also kicked 3 goals too. I felt like he provided a great option up forward. A couple of hit-outs for his game. Yeah, just a solid game from T-Mac, providing a great option. Noticed he took the long sleeve off after the first quarter, so he must have been feeling a bit restricted. Doesn't play in the long sleeves often, T-Mac. Gave the 5 votes to Tommy Sparrow. I thought Tom Sparrow was great in Viney's absence, in and under, doing some awesome stuff. Got a solid 20 disposals, 11 kicks, 9 handballs, 336 metres gained, 7 clearances, 6 tackles. 6 votes, quite obvious, goes to the 45 disposal man, Clayton Oliver. Just absolutely unreal, with 22 kicks, 23 handballs, 5 marks, 6 tackles, 11 clearances, 621 metres gained. A well-deserved 6 votes. Onto the leaderboard now, and Christian Petrarca is leading on 33 votes, closely followed by Clayton Oliver on 30. Stephen May has 27, Ed Langdon is on 20, Gorney 15, Angus Brayshaw on 11, and Tom Sparrow has bounced up with 10 votes, getting 2 5-vote games in the last 3. So that's it for my review of round 10, Melbourne versus North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments below, and as always, yeah the D's.
And it's just so special for such our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.